Hello, everybody. You can call me Hunch. And that's Tyrone and Mr. Tubbs. They fat chillin'. Those are my lawyers, okay? Not a financial advisor. Today, I'm going to talk about why I think gaming tokens are all illegal securities. That's not necessarily what I believe, but under current U.S. law, I think that's the way it is. All right, let's dive in and let me tell you why. Okay, this is an article about Stacks or Blockstack, which is, or Hero as well, which is the company behind Stacks, right? Which is smart contracts on Bitcoin. You can look up Stacks if you're interested in a first-time viewer, but they are like Ethereum, but for Bitcoin, okay? And basically when Stacks was going to release, they filed with the SEC as a security out of an abundance of caution, right? Some can argue, was it a mistake or not? Anyway, recently this year, they became denounced as not a security by the SEC, and that's because they're sufficiently decentralized, right? So what that means is Hero, or the company behind Stacks, or Blockstack, the company, can basically go away and not be involved in Stacks anymore, and it can thrive on its own, right? So it doesn't need a central entity to work, or it's not dependent on it for financial gains, right? Okay, so that's basically what it is. And they came to the conclusion that it's not a security anymore based on the Howey test, right? The Howey test is widely known throughout America to determine if something is a security or not, right? So here's the central question. The central question of the Howey test is determining whether one company or entity could reasonably be identified as the driver of potential financial returns. Okay, this is why, this exact line is why I think gaming tokens are all securities, right? If you issue a gaming token, what are you doing that for, right? Right. The answer is you're doing it to fund the game, right? Or the company, or enrich the owners of the game, right? Which is what, Ubisoft would do, or EA Games would do when they issue a share of stock on the stock market, right? They are issuing that share of stock to fund their operations, to enrich the shareholders, and that stock is solely dependent on that game company, right? EA or Ubisoft, right? If you look at any gaming token, those games are solely dependent on the central entity funding those games or developing those games. I don't see how there's any way around it. Now, you can use it as in-game currency. You can use it for whatever you want. If I think they are funding, or that game is dependent in any way on one central entity, for example, Sand, right? Sand or Decentralized, then that is a security. Now, the question is not whether it's a security. I think it's a security, and I think you would be hard-pressed to argue otherwise with me. And if you do, post a video. I'd love to hear a statement from you or another YouTuber or something arguing for the opposite opinion. But the question is not whether it's a security. I think it's a security, and for the purpose of this argument, I'm going to say it's a security, right? The question is does the United States government think you're smart enough to invest in these companies? And currently, they don't, right? They don't think you are, right? An accredited investor is an individual or business entity that is allowed to trade securities that may not be registered with financial authorities, right? So this gaming company, which is a central authority, issued a token possibly or probably to fund operations, right? And didn't register with the SEC, right? And you are not an accredited investor illegally buying securities by this theoretical position, right? Now, this is not set in stone, right? So I'm just talking about it from what I think they're going to say. And I think that is the reason Ripple is going to lose, right, under the current law. And if they do win, the law will change, right? And it means that everybody, right, can invest in startups, which is one of the intents of cryptocurrencies, right, in Ethereum, right? Think of Ethereum right now as the NASDAQ or a bank issuing shares of a stock, and you can invest in it as a non-accredited investor, right? You're the little guy and you can buy a share in the company, right? Whether I think it's decentralized enough. That's basically what you're buying. Sand, to me, is a stock. Decentraland is a stock, whether it's used for governance or money or whatever. Under the guise of this law, or under the current system, I think those are securities, and we get to invest in them, which is great, which means you can't, basically say a blanket statement to prohibit an entire class of individuals, right? Poor people from buying new companies or investing in early stage startups, right? I think that's great. But under the current law, I think gaming tokens are securities, right? And that's the biggest risk. And that's what I just wanted to talk about today. I love the games, right? I'm a huge gamer myself. Okay. I'm on a gaming PC right now, but to me, it seems like an illegal security, and the outcome of the Ripple case and what's to come is going to have a far-reaching effect on whether the little guy can buy into early stage startups. I think it's just a stock. I think Sand is just a stock. I think Decentralized is just a stock, and I think every gaming token out there is just a stock. You can call me Hunch.